It'd be very interesting to know how many people in the United States today are aware of the speech that President Obama gave last Tuesday about the war in Afghanistan, and how many of them are aware that two people crashed the state dinner for India before Thanksgiving. I'm sure way, way, way more people know about the party crashers than the cost of the war in Afghanistan. Which is more important? Well, I hardly need to tell you. There should be no interest in these people who crashed that party other than the security issues. The war in Afghanistan, extraordinarily important. The cost of the war in Afghanistan is an entire and important issue in and of itself. 30 to 40,000 soldiers, a surge of 30 to 40,000 soldiers in Afghanistan is going to cost at least $40 billion more. Each week in Afghanistan costs $3.6 billion. The war in Afghanistan could cost as much as $300 billion in 2010. So the question is, do we really need to be in Afghanistan, but also can we afford it? I think the answer actually is no to both questions. But then let's look at the American public and their interest in, say, the question of spending more money in Afghanistan, of sending more soldiers to Afghanistan. What really is their interest if we don't raise taxes? If we don't raise taxes to pay for the war in Afghanistan, they're not thinking about it that much because it doesn't appear to be costing them anything. And if we don't have a draft, say, where every young man and woman between the ages of, say, 18 and 25 are subject of a draft to be sent over to Afghanistan, they're not that interested. It doesn't change their life if we have a war in Afghanistan or we increase the troops in Afghanistan. These are the things that get the public's attention. Even as it is, over 50% right now, I believe, are against the war in Afghanistan. It's around 49 to 51%. How many people in America would be against the war in Afghanistan if we raised their taxes or sent their kids over there in a draft? I've got to tell you, it would be overwhelming. So the question is, do we really need to be in Afghanistan? Well, it's a tough question. We know that Al-Qaeda was there. We know that in the very beginning of the war, 8-9 years ago, it made sense to be there, but does it make sense to be there now? We also know that Al-Qaeda has a huge number of people in Pakistan across the border, but that's in Pakistan. That's not Afghanistan. And we also know that the Al-Qaeda network is it's in Somalia and Yemen. It's in different countries around the world. So we're not necessarily going to knock Al-Qaeda out if we so-called win a war in Afghanistan. We also know that Karzai is the president of an extremely corrupt country. He has not been dependable. The country is unstable. There are not compelling reasons for the long-term value of being in the country at this time. We've admitted that we're not nation building, that we're simply trying to make the United States more secure. What I'm asking is that the whole question of cost now supersede this question of, is it in our interests, our national security interests? Because if our most important value right now is the United States, if the nation building we're supposed to be doing, as President Obama says, is in the United States and not Afghanistan, shouldn't we be using this money for education and healthcare when we keep saying we can't afford healthcare, where the argument is about how much healthcare is going to cost, and we're spending $300 billion in Afghanistan next year? It's a question of applying some common sense reasoning to some very important issues that the American public face. And it does concern me that there's way more attention on people like Tiger Woods and people who crash a state dinner than there is on these vitally important issues that affect America's future.